So today I'm going to be demonstrating how to make this style of cake. If you want to do one of the other ones, you can go back and watch the video and put in the style that you want. Just know that you don't want to make your cake tiny, you want to make it big because we're going to be working in oil pastels. So for this project you need some oil pastels, you need a pencil, you need a sheet of pastel colored paper. So pastel colored paper is a colored paper that has some white added into it. So it's going to be the lighter colors. So here are some different examples. And you can use any color of pastel paper you want. You're also going to need a sheet of paper for tapping off. So I'm going to be working on a sheet of purple paper today. And if you want to draw with your eraser in the beginning, you can. So remember for this one, we're going to come up a little ways and we're going to go ahead and make 2 marks. We want it to be pretty wide. This is going to be how big our cake is going to be. And we don't want our cake to be tiny because it's challenging to work with oil pastels with something really small. So no matter what you do, you need to make it pretty big. So I've got my 2 dots here. Now if I want to draw with my eraser first, and I don't know if this is going to be dark enough for you to see in there. I'll go over it with my pencil as well now that I have it drawn in. So I want to go ahead and make a squished circle. So go ahead and draw a squished circle. And it's going to be pretty big. Now from here I'm going to put in the sides of my cake. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a line down and a line down. Now my next step is going to be to put in a smile, a gentle curve coming down. And I'm going to be drawing my lines kind of light as I go too, because I want to be able to erase things as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the very center of this circle and I'm going to put in a light dot. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a triangle. And then from that dot, I'm also going to draw a line straight down. So it's like I have a big arrow. In fact, let's erase out this line now that we have it, and we will actually have an arrow on our cake. And that's the top of our cutout. I can go to each side now, and I can draw a line down. Now I'm going to come up in and go to that center line. I want to come up a little ways and put a dot. And then I'm going to come from this bottom corner up to my dot and this bottom corner up to my dot. And that's going to be my cutout. And I can erase this line and this line now. So I have a basic cake shape. Now often these kinds of cakes have more than one layer, and that's kind of fun to do because then we get to make more layers of frostings with colors too. So I'm going to I want to make a dot and a dot, just so I know where they're going to go. And if I wanted to have more layers I could, but I'm going to be putting in 2 layers. And then from that dot I draw an angled line down that matches this angle. And then I do the same thing at this one. So now I have 1, 2, 3 layers of cake. It's looking delicious. Now we're going to put this cake onto a big plate. So we're going to come part way up and make a little mark. And we want to make a little mark on the other side too. We want them to be even with each other. So pay attention to this spacing right here. And now when we're going to be making this, we want it to come down a little ways from our front. So let's make a little mark here so we know where we're going. Now we're going to take and we're going to make a curved line. And if you want to do it with your eraser first, you can. That's going to go through that center line. So I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to go ahead and do it with my pencil now. So I have put my cake onto a plate. I could also go ahead and put in a shadow for this one. And for my shadow, I would come over onto this side about halfway, and I would just make a circle shape that comes up. So that's going to be my shadow. Now I'm ready to start putting in some color. Now, one of the first things that Thibaut likes to do is outline in bright rainbow colors. So I'm going to use my bright colors, and I'm going to take and I'm going to do some outlining, and I can use all different kinds of colors. The one color I don't want to use right now though is my black, okay? The black has a tendency to kind of smear in with the other colors, so if you want to use black, you totally can, but you're going to do it at the very, very end, okay? So you're going to be playing with your other colors, and you can go ahead and you can start to do some outlining. And you might choose to do one color everywhere, or you might choose to do different colors in different places. It's entirely up to you how you decide to do it. So go ahead and outline your cake. And you can even put colors side by side if you want to. So I've gone and I've outlined in bright colors. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start taking in some color. And I want to show you something that Wayne Thibaut does that's kind of fun. So he'll take in a color. So let's say I choose to use this color. And I don't have to get it perfect. He then turns it into a tint. So a tint is when you add white into a color. So he would come in on top of his color and he would add white. So he would do blending of a color. And this will make your color a lot richer. And it might blend into those colors on the edge that you added in. So that's what it looks like with that color. So if I want to keep doing some of that, I can. So you take and you put in a color, and then you can take and blend it in with white. And if you pick up some of your colors from the edges and it pulls in, that's okay. It might make it more interesting. And you also might want to take and maybe add in a second color. You can blend in more than one color. So as you work, see if you can use your white to make some interesting blends happen, creating different kinds of values. Go ahead and color in your cake and your plate. Let's wait to do our backgrounds. Now at this point, I have my basic cake and my plate done. And I might want to do a little bit of a tap off because I've got a lot of buildup. So I take my scratch paper and I can do a tap off. I can very, very gently touch it too if I have some big chunks, but you don't want to rub because it will smear your oil pastels. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to work in my background. And if I want, I can go ahead and put it on a table. To put on a table, it's really, really easy. I would come up above my shadow and I would draw a line. And then that line, I would imagine driving over the top, flying over the top of my cake. And then I would continue it on the other side. So now if I want to color in my background, I have a table and a wall behind it. And now I can go ahead and play with my colors back there too. One thing you can do too is you can take your scratch paper and you can put it onto the corner of your paper so that if you're going off the page, you won't make a mess on your desk. And just like with your cake, if you want to, after you put in a color, you can take your white on top of it again, and then that once again makes this really, really sweet pastel happen. And it kind of does some blending, and it just gives a really beautiful finish. So you can see how I've added white in on top of my blue there. I've added a little bit of white in on top of my pink. So you can try that if you want to. And there I have my basic finished cake. If I wanted to add any more details or brighter lines or colors in, I could. Thanks for joining me today.